What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. I hope you guys are doing well today. And I had a video that I wanted to do because I was taking a closer look at my newly arrived non-sonic welded etched driver and comparing it to my Luke Jedi, which was an early graded, early in Collector Archive Services lifetime, I should say. And if you look at the accessory cases for each of them, it's pretty dramatic how much better they have gotten with those. And I just thought I'd point this out because, as more and more of these grading companies have moved over to the etched accessory cases, AFA just recently, I think September, October of last year, moved over to the etched style accessories instead of just having it taped to the side of the case where the figure is. They now also display the accessories on the same plane as the figure instead of perpendicular to the figure. And CAS has been doing it for a long time, and they were really the first ones to do it, and AFA kind of copied them after receiving some demand from collectors. So but the interesting thing that I wanted to show is, number one, I wanted to kind of look at this AT driver in more detail, but just compare the accessory cases because it's pretty awesome how much better they've gotten about that. And hopefully UKG will kind of follow the lead and do that as well, because there's a number of figures out there that are only really available by UKG, and by that I mean a lot of the PvP figures and Spanish POC figures, things like that. You see them occasionally in AFA cases, but because the majority of collectors are in the UK and in Europe and things like that, they tend to send those to UKG, just given the proximity. But UKG has not moved over to this kind of accessory case yet, to my knowledge. They've had blocky, separate containers for the accessories, but not like on the same plane and kind of etched and framed in there like this. So. But anyway, first let's take a quick look at this AT driver. I bought this guy on eBay for very reasonably priced. It was advertised as a non-sonic weld, and as I talked about, for those of you who don't know non-sonic welded figures or what that means, please look up in my channel. I did a pretty lengthy video on non-sonic welded figures and compared them to weak welded figures, so you can know what to look out for. But anyway, this was advertised as a non-sonic welded figure, and it was truly non-sonic welded. The seller did a great job of showing the interior of the torso, each torso half, so you can see that there were no weld points on the inside of the figure. So here he is, and CAS is really the only company right now that does these really kind of crazy contraptions for non-sonic welded figures. It holds the two non-sonic welded pieces together, and then also displays the arms out separately, which I just love. I think it's really cool. And then here's the accessory case. If I can get it to focus again, you can kind of see how it's framed in there, and you see how clean the edges are and the sides. I mean, this is just incredible work here. How much more detail, and the recess for the actual weapon is quite a bit deeper. And we'll compare that to the Luke here in a second. But you can just see what a beautiful job that is, and it's a real step up from their earlier efforts on this front. And then, let's take a look at the label real quick. 1980 Kenner Star Wars AT driver, COO 3-line, GMGFI, Hong Kong, non-sonic welded, and it came back with an 85. I was a little surprised this got an 85, to be honest with you. There's quite a bit of marks on his butt here, which is a very common thing with these AT drivers. You can kind of see down here where there's quite a bit of scuffing there. That was really the only major flaw. This might be a flaw right here on his chest piece there, but other than that, it's a very, very clean figure. So I guess they took mercy on me and gave me the 85. I was expecting an 80, but just a beautiful presentation. These non-sonic welded figures have become more popular now that CAS has delivered such cool cases, but you don't see them come up that often anymore on eBay. They used to be. I used to see maybe 3 to 5 a month of these, and now you hardly ever see them, or if you do see them, they're just weak welded figures. They're not actual true non-sonic welded figures. But what a beautiful case. But take note of how cool that accessory case is. This seller included the weapon with it, so I went ahead and had the weapon mounted with it. I'm glad I did, because it looks really awesome with it. So that's that. And then let's take a look at what their old efforts look like. This is the Luke Jedi blue snap cape, I believe. Is this a snap cape? Yeah, this is the snap cape Hong Kong. But look at the accessory case as they used to be. You can see all the bubbles and kind of imperfections in the case, and the edges are just not very clean at all. And you can see how rudimentary the sides are and the edges versus the non-sonic welded AT-AT driver. So, I want to give props to CAS. CAS takes a lot of flack from me because of their turnaround times being so miserable. It's unless you pay for expedited grading, it's a 6-month turnaround time right now, and hopefully that improves. So, I do bag on them for that, but they are extremely easy to work with. The submission process is seamless. It's by far the easiest of between AFA and CAS. I've never submitted anything to the UKG, just given the geographic difference, but the submission process for CAS is absolutely easy, the easiest thing to do. You can submit anything online, and if they have not graded it yet, you can just quickly describe it and add it to your cart, and then they come back and bill you later. So, much more customized with their offerings. They'll grade bootlegs with or without weapons. It's just with card backs, if you got a card back and a loose figure, you can grade those together. Just lots of really cool options that CAS offers that AFA does not. And I understand why AFA is so busy that they don't really want to fool with that kind of stuff right now. But CAS is kind of the new kid on the block, and I would, in my humble opinion, they are right on par with UKG in terms of their grading and casing, if not a step above. In terms of the presentation. But I think that UKG probably has a better reputation personally, just because they've been around longer and they do deal with a lot of international products like the PBPs and POCs and things like that you just don't hardly ever see by AFA. But real quick, let's take one final look at it so you can just see how much better it is. I mean, look how clean that case is for the accessories. And the edges, I mean, that is just unbelievable compared to the old one. I mean, there's no comparison. And, I think that as CAS continues to improve, hopefully that'll push the other grading companies to kind of, to match them. And, I wanted to follow up on Blacked Out Ewoks, who's another YouTuber. He talked about the grading scores. In my opinion, AFA is easily the most difficult on figures and grading in terms of the most stringent with their scoring. I think UKG and CAS are basically on par. I used to think UKG was more strict, but I don't think that's true anymore after seeing some of the figures that I've been watching here lately. Items that are receiving, if you go back and look at my Cap 2, there's a Rebel Commander in there that got an 85 that had no business being an 85. So, in my opinion, I think that they're probably about as lax on grading as CAS is. I'm talking about UKG. But I think that, UKG's labels are second to none. They do a great job of describing all the different variations on a figure. I've got a number of UKG graded items with a lot more detail, even than the CAS labels, with regard to the weapon type and things like that, the cape type. And, I like the fact that UKG will listen to the person submitting the item and go into a little bit more detail. AFA, in my opinion, on their labels, they are by far in the Stone Age. They need to step up their game in terms of the labels. A no COO and a PBP, which also is a no COO, they're labeled the same, and so one could be a Palatoy and one could be a rare PBP, yet they're both going to show as no COO. Now, there's other ways to denote it, with pale face and things like that, that will set those apart. But I just think that, with UKG, they come out and CAS does too, but they come out and say PBP on the label. That's what I want to see. I don't want to buy a figure and be wondering or not being able to prove it later on if I ever have to resell it. So, but UKG and CAS are absolutely fantastic on their labels and being more specific than AFA. And I hope that AFA will take note of that and start making a little bit better effort in terms of their labels. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling on a bunch of different things, but I wanted to show off this non-sonic welded AT driver again, and then just talk about the etched accessories, and then we kind of veered off there into scoring. But Blacked Out Ewoks' recent video on grading options got me thinking about that, and I want to kind of get my 2 cents out there as well. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.